Hi and welcome. I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming Terrain. This is the weekly Wednesday Wargaming / Warhammer questions and answers. This is an off the cuff video, guys. For those of you that are new, sorry. What that means is I don't do no editing on it. So this weekly Wednesday, I film it, I upload it. Okay, this is a model focused questions and answers. It's all to do with models, painting techniques, tools, materials, etc. Okay, so if I mess anything up, you get some people laugh at me because it's an off the cuff video. Last week, off the cuff, I sort of cocked up a little bit. Sorry, let me start again. I'm too far ahead of myself. Just messed up then. Those of you new to the channel, guys, hit the buttons for me. Join us. We're getting some good numbers now. Those of you regular here, guys, thank you for sticking with me. I feel the love. Last week, I was showing you how to do the foam trays and a very cost-effective way of doing it. I'd done lots of prep work and everything was great and fantastic, but then when I was actually doing it, filming, I realised that I cocked it up. I should have cut all of them out and just left two, and then done one with the hot knife, one with the blade. So I do apologise, guys. I did. If you haven't seen that video, go back and have a look, and you can have a laugh and see what I'm talking about. But I did talk you through how to sort it out afterwards. One of the questions I answered last week, right at the end, before I realised I was hitting 15 minutes, was about clothing. What clothing do you wear when you're painting terrain, etc., etc.? Like, do you have specific safety clothes? Now, I did answer that question, but just to recap on it, I haven't gone out and specifically bought specific clothing, okay? But I do have specific clothing in the house that I just wear to come over here, and I can wear it here and then go over to the house, take it off, get changed, so it's ready for the next time I come over. Now, in terms of safety, things that we need for safety when we're doing our hobby, okay? If you're using a knife, always go for the retractable blade, okay? So you don't go to grab something and the blade's hanging out and you cut yourself. Some people use a scalpel blade, okay? They call it so many different things, but it's just basically a scalpel blade. When you see it, you'll imagine it to be used in surgery. So that's a scalpel blade, okay? If you're using that, sorry, the light goes off and it's reflecting off my solar panel. If you're using that, okay, and to clean bits and pieces off models, what the hell's going on with that lighting? I do apologise, guys. The lighting seems to be going weird. If you're using that to clean casting lines off models, or to cut a hand or an arm or whatever, okay, the amount of pressure you should be using it with your fingers there would be the same as if you're using a sharp knife and carving pieces of an apple off to eat. Okay, to give you a rough idea. Ideally, I would say if you're doing casting lines, use a scraper. Okay, try not to use a blade. Other safety things that you could use, and I've just got some because I've got a rotary tool that I'm going to be using for a terrain build to cut plastic, and I was like, I've got nothing to protect my face. Pro goggles, okay, so even if you're not using a rotary tool, even if you use something else to do with models, and there's bits of dust or it's going to be, so you was making a base, so you had a bit of expanding foam and you were trying to put it onto a base, hoggle it to a base, and you were cutting the sculpt to it and everything else and sanding it down, and there's bits of dust, you don't want to be breathing that in or in your eyes or anything. So mask, glasses. If you're using airbrushing mask, you might have seen me using airbrushing. I don't wear a mask. I have a well ventilated area. I've got a face shield here which we can get anywhere now, but a face shield as well. So when I'm using the rotary tool to do terrain bits or to do with model bits, because there might be a bit where I go, actually I want to sand that down, or I want to cut that bit off, but it's such a fine cut, I don't want to use pliers or a blade. I actually want to just two bits. Gloves. The only gloves you're probably ever going to need on models would be latex gloves or rubber gloves when you're spraying, for spraying stuff. Now, a friend of mine was talking to me about airbrushing. He said, "Oh, I need to get an airbrush because I'm so sick and tired of using a paintbrush and undercoat models." Now, I did cover this in one of my very first videos, and it was looking back at it, and looking what videos I'm producing now. There's a big difference. I was all like, really, my heart was purring, if you know what I mean. But now it's just like, yay, I can't wait to make videos. So just to recap on that for you, my friend, you can buy Games Workshop undercoat spray. You can buy Army Painter, and there's a good few others. But I use enamel spray. This is €4 from the range. You give it, you give it one little spray, and then what you do then, you leave it to dry. It's like an hour to dry, and you'll see the bits that you've got and bits that you've missed, and then just give another light spray. It's nice and easy. The range didn't have that for a long time, so I had to go and got this one. Okay, now this one is matte black, and it's for cars, for spraying the outside of a car, like the actual bodywork of a car, and that works just as well. Okay, again, you have to give it one light spray first of all, leave it to dry, and then just go over it bits that's not gone through properly. Here's another thing that I do that might help you guys out. I don't know if they still do it, so if they don't, chuck on below me know, guys. But when Games Workshop used to sell a box of models, this is going to sound quite funny, but hear me out. You have plastic with a box inside. Okay, so the box is wrapped in plastic. You open the box up and you'd have one of these, which is a plastic with all the model bits inside. Okay, I'm pretty sure now they will come on a sprue and it's just in a cardboard box with the plastic around it. If I'm wrong, check on below, let me know. But what I do, you see that side's all black. What I do with this is I have it flat. I put 3 or 4 models on it. I give it a spray from one side. I then turn this round, give it a spray from the other side. I turn it around again, third side, and then the fourth side. And then I look at the model, if there's any bit on top that I've missed, or any bit here or there, I can give it a little spray from an angle to get it. When that's dry, I then get the rubber gloves on. Okay, I've turned the model upside down, see if there's any bits underneath that I missed. Now, before I even get to the undercoating spray, I spoke about this before, I gravel my models. Now, I use railway coal, okay, gravel. It's for model trains. But what I do with it is, it's the model trains, I believe it's the coal, the stones that they put down, and then they put the tracks on top, okay? But I glue that to the base, and then undercoat the whole, when that's dry, I undercoat the whole thing. Okay, and then do my dry brush techniques and all that, which I've covered in another Wednesdays, weekly Wednesday. So if you're, go back up, I can't remember what it is. My friend said to me I should actually put episode numbers on them so I can actually just reference it. But that's something I need to do on a long list of things I forgot to do. So bear with me, guys. Okay, that's that. Now, other safety things. Sorry, I've gone from safety things to sorry. It's actually, the ball actually reminded me this morning, are you doing your weekly Wednesday today? And I was like, oh shit, it's Wednesday. Because usually I'm off on Wednesday. But anyway, when you're using super glue, guys, ventilated area, okay? Now, with super glue, there's a little trick. Yeah, I'm not telling you to sniff glue or anything like that. But if you open the super glue up, I can smell that. Okay, I can smell that super glue. That means that super glue is good to go. If you can't, if there's no fumes or no smell from it, then it's gone and it's no good. It's not going to glue nothing. Okay, that's super glue. Now, polyspin glue, I think I covered that a little while ago because I remember speaking about that. You don't really need much more safety, a bit of common sense with things. If you're using a blade, let people know you're using a blade so they don't come and call you and disturb you and everything else. Yeah, that's pretty much the safety stuff you need. You can have clothes that you have just for painting or just for modelling. Now I've got paint on clothes and it's stained it, glasses, shield, mask, when I say mask, I don't mean the mask you're wearing to go into shops at the moment. I mean like a proper like dust mask, you know. Now, one question I have on here as well is what's blue stuff, what's green stuff. Okay. Now, I did touch on that a little couple of weeks ago, but I didn't tell you what it is. I just a brief conversation about it. This here is blue stuff. Now, you can get this in Green Stuff World or hobbymad.ie. I believe the last time I got Hobby Mad, it was, I think it's €4.50 for 2 bars. Now, when you start using it, the first thing you'll notice with this, the first problem, there's not enough of it. Okay, and some of you are going to laugh and go, well, what does that mean? Now, it's thermoplastic. Okay, it's very much like if you get a gum shield, you got to put it in boiling water and then you put it in your mouth and it molds to shape your mouth. But with this, you put it into boiling water and then after a minute or so, it goes all gooey. You take it out and you take whatever piece it is that you want to cast and you pull it into it. You push it right in and make sure it's covered. Leave it for about 30 seconds or so. You take the next piece out, you put it on top, you push it again, leave it for another 30 seconds or so, and then you peel them apart. And then what you have is a mould of that piece in 2 bits. And then you use, I use milliput, but you put milliput in both sides, and I'll explain milliput in a second, but you put it in both sides, you put them together, and you leave it for like 12, 15 hours, however long it takes. And then you peel the blue stuff off, and you will have the piece that you put into the mould. Okay, it does take a little bit of trial and error. Now for me, I'm not the best with green stuff or milliput, but if I'm making stone, like stone altars or stone, that's perfect. Okay, because I've got a few pieces that are no longer in production anywhere, so I can cast them because there's no copyright, nothing. Because I can cast them because no one owns them. I can cast them and then just modify them when they're dry. And because they're stone, if the milliput is not right and it looks cracked, it's stone, so it looks good. Now, milliput and green stuff, they're not the same thing, but they are pretty much the same thing. Okay. Now, milliput is more industrial to that, you know, extreme level. It'll even sound a packet of milliput can be used to fix car engine, fuel tanks, and boat repairs, and you know, stuff like that. Whereas green stuff is not designed for that. It's the same sort of concept, but one's really industrialized, like for heavy duty work, and the other one's like for model work. Now, green stuff and milliput, they are basically two. They're two like they're like plasticine. Well, the milliput definitely does, but the green stuff. Do I have any green stuff floating around? Give me a second. I'm sure I have some floating around here. I'll probably end up finding it afterwards. But anyway, yeah. So the milliput is like plasticine, and the green stuff is yellow and blue. Like it's a flat strip. And what you do is you cut off what you need. You wet your fingers and you just keep like knitting it together. Okay. The blue stuff obviously goes from green and from yellow and blue turns to green, and that's how you know that's ready. Whereas the milliput, you have to keep working that way, and it'll go from the 2 sort of colours it is to like a more of a creamy colour. And it actually, I've got a dry piece here. Excuse me. They go to that sort of colour. Okay. Get up close because the lighting's gone again. Lighting's got a bit weird on me. Now this was a test piece for an altar. As you can see, my work is not that great, but that's still a salvageable piece and usable piece. Now, one thing with milliput, I don't know about green stuff, but with milliput, if you take a piece off and you're using it and you end up having a piece left over, you can actually put that into a little plastic container, put it in the freezer. Okay, and when you need it, take it out and let it defrost, and it's ready to go. Yeah, you haven't got. I don't know if green stuff does that, but milliput does, because I've done that before, so I know. But the green stuff is, green stuff is more of a model based. You know, if you want to fill a gap or like a join in something, there's a little gap and you want to feel it, not feel it, but fill it up without using the super glue and the baking soda technique. someone's going to ask me about that. And sorry, baking powder and super glue. You put the super glue in, and you just put baking powder on top and push it in. And what it does is the super glue bonds with the baking powder and bonds with the gap, and just seals the gap really easy. It's really cheap and easy way of doing it. But before I got off, I should have fucking explained what that was. Now the green stuff, it's not only just filling gaps. You can use it to make cloaks. You can use it to make like little bags. You can use it for quite a lot of things. It is it's one of these materials that you need to just continuously go for and continuously keep trying to do stuff with, to really get the hang of it properly and become like an expert on it. Now I've done cloaks. That's pretty simple. You just roll it flat, mold it the shape you want it. I've used it to fill a few gaps on a few belts and stuff like that. So it took us 3 Space Marine bikers. I think it's I can't remember what they're called now. Is it assault bikers or something like that? But there's a sergeant with a power sword, there's a guy with a plasma gun, and a guy with a metal gun or something like that. And I didn't put them on a bike, so I put them on actual standing. So just to give the unit a bit more difference, because you get the bits to make them into normal bikes anyway. So, and I had to put the green stuff around the belt because the body was a bit weird on the legs. The only other place I've used the green stuff on my cow spawns, the ones you can buy from GW at the moment, there's all gaps on the back. Okay, so I literally just filled them with the green stuff and made it look a bit blended in and everything else. It's an easy tool, easy material to use, but you just need to keep practicing the way out. Just keep practicing away with it. Now the blue stuff. Okay, this raises another question on the blue stuff, and this is a grey area for me. Okay, there's a few videos on YouTube where people are using the blue stuff, and what they're doing, they're casting model components. Okay, the one that I've seen, the guy had 3 Tyranid warriors, and he was casting parts from them. Like before he glued them together, he's casting parts from them, and then what he done was mix and match them, and then he had 6 Tyranid warriors. Okay, now I'm not saying go and do that. I'm not saying that at all. If you were doing something like that for your own personal army, to me, it's not much of an issue. It's your army. You're doing your bits and pieces, because you could take the green stuff, put onto a wire and cut and sculpt and keep working away and sculpt the piece yourself. So it's not much of a difference, and you're using the army. But if you're doing it to make the bits and selling them, that's not very good. I wouldn't do that. But with the blue stuff, you could take certain bits and make a mold of it to cast them for yourself. There's, for example, at the moment, the Blade Guard veterans, there's one where the guy's holding a sword and he's got cloth and he's wiping the blade with a cloth. For some reason, that piece is so sought after by everyone. Everyone wants that piece. They love that piece. I think it looks okay, but if you were using the blue stuff to cast that component, not to sell, but just to use on your blade guards, or if you were casting it and your buddy said, "Oh, can I grab one?" Oh yeah, there we go. Then to me that's fine, because you're just, there's one component you want, or if it's a head or a specific shoulder pads for Space Marines, for example. I can understand that, but that's a grey area when it comes to casting models. Personal use, I think, is fine, but if you're doing it for a commercial way, don't do it, guys, because that's wrong. Right, that's the questions I have. There's every week there's always a question about pile of shame. When I've gone through this bag of Space Marines down here, okay, and I've got everything I can out of it and everything else, then I will probably every month or two just do a quick 5 minutes at the end of one of these videos on what pile of shame I have left, okay, because everyone's interested in that, and it's getting quite. That pile of shame video I did was only for my main man, and ended up chucking up anyway, and it's getting quite a lot of views. I think it's like 87 views or something. It's crazy for something that was just for fun. But anyway, guys, I hope I've answered the questions here. I've rambled a bit. I'm hitting 20 minutes. I need someone here with a big stick and a little pokey finger to poke me to remind me to hurry up. Anyway, guys, please hit like, share, subscribe, turn your notifications, and I'll see you. Terrain build's good this week. It's good every week, but it's really nice. I just checked when it comes. It's all dry, so if you come for that, don't worry. I worked 7 days straight since last week, so it's been a bit. But that's ready for me to spray in the morning and start working away on. So that should be up before the weekend. So guys, until next week, take it easy.